From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
One ball, corner pocket.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi.
And Corey Clark.
Wake up! It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Coming up on today's show, mission accomplished for the baseball team up there at the ACC tournament. But are there still some concerns as the national tournament sets to start this weekend? And it will be in Tallahassee. And we wrap up the great softball season and just some hijinks in general. It's a Monday Memorial Day show. Enjoy. No football, sorry. Wake Up Warchant presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachia Parkway. You can visit them on the internet if you want to check the menu out beforehand. cptallybar.com. Tomorrow, trivia night at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, as well as tacos all day. Beef, chicken, hard shell, soft shell. That's a special all day long, $8.99. Today, though, half-pound all-black Angus beef burger, side dish of your choosing, $8.99 at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Again, lunch special, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Go check them out, 2475 Appalachia Parkway. Warchant.com, the ultimate Seminole sports source. Won't you hit the thumbs up and leave a nice review on Podcasts app, which I guess used to be iTunes, whatever Apple's doing now. Who knows what they're doing over there in Cupertino, California, I think is maybe their headquarters. Not all that sure, but Warchant.com's got everything you need. Irish O'Fell, Corey Clark, Michael Langston, Matt Lasser, Tom Lang, Jeff Cameron, Gene Williams. Probably left somebody off. We got a big Ben Spicer. Big staff these days, but number one in your hearts, everybody. Corey Clark, everybody. What's up? What's up, Corey Clark?
What's up, buddy? How are you doing?
I'm well. I'm got a trip going on. I'm gonna hop on a jet airplane this morning, go to Nashville, go do some recruiting, content creation for everybody. The On3 Elite Series. Yeah, man. The On3 Elite Series is going down. So I'll be there.
All right.
Interviewing I think Michael Langston gave me like nearly 10 guys that are gonna be they only invited 50 dudes, 2025 class. So Florida State apparently is in the mix for at least maybe 10 of those guys. So we'll see just how much they're in the mix if I can get the right questions and elicit the information out of them. So stoked.
All right, great. Well, that sounds fun.
How are you, Corey Clark? How are you, man?
I'm good. So does that mean we're not doing a show? When are we doing a show again?
I don't know, man. So as we record this, they have not announced the 16 full regional site hosts, but we know Florida State's one of them. And we're like, I don't know, like 97% sure they're going to be a top 8 national seed, but we'll find that out on Monday.
Right.
We're going to do the selection show.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll try to. Here's a tricky thing. I'm going to be sharing a room with somebody I've never met before in my life.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'm going to be like, hey, man, like, do you mind if you keep it down over there? I'm gonna record a podcast with Corey Clark here.
How long are you up there?
I'm flying up this morning. I'll fly back down Wednesday morning. So it's pretty smash and
okay.
grab.
It's a cool city. You could go see some live music. They got plenty of offerings. You could go throw chairs off the top of balconies. They love it in that city.
What's your
Morgan
favorite?
Whalen did?
Yeah, Morgan Whalen? Whelan?
Yeah, Whalen.
What's your favorite honky
Wallen.
tonk, Corey?
It might be Wallen.
You're right.
Sorry,
there it is.
everyone.
There we go. We
Okay.
got it. There we go.
Wait,
We got it.
sorry.
What's your favorite honky tonk? Anybody leave a comment, everybody. Let me know your favorite honky tonk on Broad Street, right?
Clearly, you know I'm a big honky tonk guy because I almost pronounced the biggest country star currently in the world's last name correctly.
Yeah.
So clearly, I'm a big fan. But yeah, I liked it. I mean, I don't mind country music. I think Luke Bryan has a place. Kid Rock has a place.
He does.
Garth has a place. He's my least favorite because of the nonsense he pulled. Well, just the nonsense he pulled on Stephanie and I when we were in.
Well, hey, listen, you guys had your hopes up. He didn't say anything about performing. You guys were just trying to connect some dots.
He was there, Aslan. He was there in the building. He had been at the building. Why would he drop those breadcrumbs and then go back to his fortress 20 miles away or whatever. So, but Nashville by itself, it's not all country music either. You can go in there and request whatever you want. They love to play rock music. You just got to pay them. But it's a cool little town. It's a cool little town, buddy. I think you'll like it on Broadway.
Yeah, man. Again, our first foray together as employees of Warchant.com was in Nashville for that.
That's right.
Regional or whatever they call it for basketball, where they took down Missouri and Michael Porter Jr.
Yeah.
And then number 1 Xavier went down.
That's right.
And then
Chris Mack. Chris Mack's the number 1 Xavier team went down. That's right.
And where is he at now? He got hired somewhere that it all came full circle for me. Somewhere weird now.
Yeah, he's gone down. So but he never beat Leonard Hamilton
when it mattered.
When it mattered, he did not. Yeah, Leonard beat him pretty good there the last few times they played. But I don't know how many people Leonard is going to be beating in 2024/25. But hey, we're not worried about that right now. We're talking about I assume baseball. We're talking about the Diamond.
Yeah, sorry, but if I failed you all, I don't think there's anything out there I can force a football on. I mean, you can always force a football, but just nothing really comes to the front of the dome right now for the Noles. We'll have all that recruiting stuff, I guess. Maybe I'll think of something in the midst of all this. But yeah, Florida State baseball, Corey, I don't want to call it bittersweet or anything. They had one goal, right? There's one objective. Go to Charlotte and lock up a national seed, a top 8 seed. And if you listen to the people that make this their living, guys over at D1 Baseball, the Aaron Fitz of the world, the Kendall Rogers, the Teddy Cahills over at Baseball America, it sounds like those guys are ironclad is what I saw Aaron Fitz, I think, tweet after they took down Virginia. So Florida State goes up there in pool play, takes down Georgia Tech and Virginia. They advance to the semifinals. They take down Wake Forest. I don't know if that was a quad 1 win or not. And they made it to the finals. And then they lost in inglorious fashion, 16-4 against Duke. And Duke had several of the same issues Florida State had to deal with, but their starting pitcher was able to navigate it well. So I'm not upset about that, but there's some things that put concern into my mind, but ultimately mission accomplished, I guess you would say, for Florida State baseball, right?
Oh, I think so. I think it was a very good week. It was a thud of an ending, but overall a very, very good week. You went up there and look, man, the goal is to get to Omaha. And I say that, people can say, oh, yeah, that's sour grapes because they didn't play well in the ACC championship. I joked with you and Ira that I had no idea how many ACC titles Mike Martin won, tournament titles.
Right.
It's 8. Nope. I don't know that even hardcore Florida State baseball fans know that. I don't think it's on a sign anywhere at Hauser. Yeah. It's just not something people genuinely care about. They care about trips to Omaha, and they care about the 0 that's been accomplished while they've been out in Omaha. So everything else, like the goal for this past week, it would have been nice to get a trophy, but I can tell you this from doing this for a long time, because Florida State's won a few ACC titles in my time covering the team. When they got beat in June, nobody, not a single person, not any one of you, was like, you know what, but they still got that ACC tournament title, so it was still a good year. Like, it just doesn't matter. It's cool to have, but the big goal is to get to Omaha, in my opinion. And they did what they had to do, winning 3 neutral site games up there against good teams, like 2 absolute tournament teams. Georgia Tech's on the bubble. We'll find out later today if they make it. But getting 2 big wins on neutral sites was really big for them, and that's what they had to do. Like I think they're still in the conversation, even if they'd have gone 1-1. But to go 3-1 with Georgia Tech, Virginia, and Wake. Virginia also was kind of on the cusp of hosting, being a top 8 seed, and you beat them. And that was the only time you played them. So, yeah, man, I would say the win over Virginia, the win over Wake is a much bigger deal than a loss to Duke when, I mean, guys, you saw who was pitching. Come on, man. What can you do? There's the 4th game of the tournament, the 3rd game in 3 days. They just doesn't have any pitching and they weren't going to waste any valuable pitching in a game that really didn't mean anything, right? I think we all think. I mean, again, you could say the trophy means something, but in the grand scheme of college baseball, getting to Omaha, I don't think what happened on Sunday meant anything at all. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe somehow their loss to Duke means that Indiana State is a top 8 national seed, but I don't think so.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. The wins over Wake Forest and Virginia, by the way, they were quad 1 wins, so Florida State 8-7 in those. But if you look at their resume stacked up against Georgia, I mean, I think Georgia actually has the better resume, which is a little bit concerning.
When I look at the top 8, so when I look at the top 8 in RPI, it's Tennessee, Texas A&M, Kentucky, North Carolina, Arkansas, Georgia 6, Clemson is 7, and Florida State is 8. So I feel like Georgia and Florida State could both be top 8 national seeds, right? I don't know that they're absolutely contending with them. I mean, I guess I could be wrong. I don't know who else is like an automatic going to host a super regional.
I think Oklahoma.
I mean, they're 14th in the RPI. They were 37-19.
Florida State, the one that's holding back Florida State when you look at these resumes like side by side. Like when they go against Georgia, they're 17-12 in conference. Florida State, so they're 5 above 500 in conference. I mean, Georgia's only 4. But Florida State was 26th in strength of schedule. Georgia's 9th. Oklahoma was 10th. Georgia's got 13 quad 1 wins. Oklahoma's got 10 quad 1 wins. Florida State's got those 8. And then KPI, which I guess is basically what would your, how would your schedule be if you had, I guess, everybody else's schedule or the teams around you schedule. Florida State is behind Georgia in that aspect. They're 8th. Georgia's KPI is 6th.
Okay, so who knows what any of that means, folks? We're not smart enough to know. And look, we all know how these committees have always looked out for Florida State over the years. So I assume they're just going to do what's right for Florida State. But, no matter what happens, I don't think the win over Duke, who is 16 in the RPI, I just don't think one win. It's not football. There's what has Florida State played now? 57 games? That's this represents less than 2% of the season was that one game. And it's foolish to put too much stock into one game like that. I think you can't do that.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think Sunday did that. No, Sunday concerned me more just about what they're going to have.
Oh, right,
talent-wise and available.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't. If you win Sunday, for sure, you're definitely locking up that top 8 seed. But again, everybody said that after you beat Virginia, and if Link Jarrett had the option to get back on a jet airplane and come back to Tallahassee after that game against Virginia, I think he would have done that.
Yeah, and said, Duke, you can have the championship.
Exactly,
Yeah, they should have just done that. If that was going to be what was going to happen anyway, they should have just done that. I mean, Cam Smith and Ferreira had home runs. But, yeah, I think when you come out of that, what happened this weekend, I mean, I think you like the chances of being a top 8 national seed. You've at least gotten yourself in the conversation. Yeah, maybe it's Oklahoma, maybe it's Georgia, even though Georgia limped into the finish. And when you look at the resumes, it wouldn't be an outrage if Florida State was 9 instead of 8,
right,
or 7 instead of 9, whatever. It wouldn't be an outrage. They had a chance, and I'm not talking about this weekend. I'm talking about, honestly, and I've been harping on it. There were 3 games played in Clemson, South Carolina, where if they just win one of them. But they probably should have won 2 of them. Yeah. This is a no-brainer. But they didn't. So they're kind of on the bubble. I think they should be a top 8 national seed. I think what they did this week was very impressive. I think the fact that they did it without 2 of their weekend starters pretty much for the final 2.5 months of the season even adds more to it. But, again, we know the committee doesn't care about stuff like that. Overcoming adversity, winning when one of your stars isn't playing, we know committees don't care about that. But if they do take that into account, Florida State definitely has a chance. But either way, if they're not a top 8 national seed, well, theoretically they're the first team out. So their roads, they don't have to go to Tennessee. They shouldn't have to go to A&M. They might have to go to Georgia or Oklahoma.
Yeah,
for a super regional. So
good point. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if they seed them like that, so if they're the 9 seed, they'll be playing the 8 seed if they win. And again, they got to win their regional for any of this to matter. But going back to what happened this week, you love your offense. The defense is good. Ferreau had a good week. All your guys had good weeks. I don't know what you do with Carson Dorsey. That was not the week you wanted from the guy who I think will be your Friday night starter. I mean, I think he's pitching the first game of your regional.
Well, that's the whole reason that it was important that they got those wins, though, right? Because you're probably going to play in Tallahassee until you make it to Omaha if you make it that far.
And you're saying he pitches better there?
You've said that, and it proved out that way. And I think Link Jarrett even said as much after that disastrous result he had against Virginia where he got no outs and got allowed two home runs.
4 runs, and 4 runs. He pitched 1 full inning in Charlotte and gave up 8 earned runs.
Yeah, so I think being at home will help out a little bit, Corey. I'm hoping
can't be any worse.
No.
Well, hey Carson, that's not a challenge, but yeah, he's been very very good at Hauser, a different pitcher. I mean, he's been frankly pretty awful on the road all year, or at least not what he's been. But he's been very good at home. But a 4 seed isn't an automatic win. Buster Posey's team lost their first game. This team has lost a couple of times to 4 seeds. So it's not automatic, even with that good offense. It's not automatic you're going to pummel a 4 seed, whoever it is. Dorsey can't be like that. He's got to give you 5 innings at least, 5 or 6 innings of pretty good baseball, and then you still wonder. You got Arnold locked and loaded for that winner's bracket game if you get there. That feels good because whoever you're facing is going to probably have thrown their best pitcher the day before. So you like Jamie Arnold against anybody's number 2, including an SEC team's number 2. But even if you do win that, well, there's still 27 more outs to get. And I'm not sure I know if they're any closer to getting them. I did like that Whitaker pitched twice, which leads me to believe that maybe he doesn't start on a Sunday in a championship game. Or if he does, he's only going to go 4 innings. But 4 innings is better than nothing. 12 outs are big, and then you could piece it together from there. And Link, as much as he sounded confident all through the last 2.5 months, he really, really does sound confident that Cam Leiter will pitch this weekend.
They gave us a path, right?
In some capacity, yeah.
We have a path now. We just kept hearing close, getting better, but now we know like bullpen session was performed, and the plan is to like have him available for the regional weekend. So that's tangible. That's real.
Hey, man, that's a big – and look, I just want to say this again. This is why what happens on Monday around noon on ESPN could be a very, very big deal, because I just imagine Cam Leiter in a Sunday or a Saturday winner's bracket game in a regional, hopefully non-weather delayed regional with Florida State, coming in to get like 6 outs or 3 outs. That place will be electric, and he will feed off that. He will feed off that excitement and energy. And then if you can get to a super, how much more he could feed off that in a game where you got to get 3 outs or 4 outs against whoever, Oklahoma or whoever, Florida, if they're matched up with that regional somehow. But yeah, it's nice to have that. I just think that he will feed off that so much better at home than he would if he's pitching in Norman or whatever.
But as you said, though, you need that third win.
Yeah.
And we saw Whitaker start a game. We saw Whitaker come on in relief in Charlotte.
Yeah.
And he did get, I think, above 45 pitches maybe in that relief effort.
He did, yeah. I think he was right at 50. And some hard contact, but he threw strikes. Got some outs, struck out the Wake's best hitter, a top 5 pick in the draft. By the way, folks, I was texting Aslan about this. I think this is the best the ACC's ever been. And I can't believe how many just great baseball players there are in this conference. Like, I think when you look back in 10 years and you're James Tibbs winning ACC Player of the Year among this collection of players is one of the great achievements. Like, I think they're going to have they might have like 25 guys picked in the first 2 rounds, most of them position. I mean, the position players in this conference are nuts. It's crazy. Like Cam Smith, Tibbs, they're both probably going to be first-round picks, and there'll probably be 4 other ACC guys picked ahead of them. And then the best player of the bunch might be the freshman at Georgia Tech.
Oh, man, Burris, yeah.
Yeah, he's incredible. So it's like there's just talent everywhere in this conference. It really is offensively. It's got to be one of the best or the best this conference has ever been. Because North Carolina has some studs, man. They got them all over the place.
Yeah, man, that Honeycutt guy's something serious, man. Cozart from NC State. And then, Duke.
The Miami freshman that hit 25 bombs or whatever. Yeah.
And then all the arms, like Santucci from Duke, and then Wake Forest got that Chase Burns guy, Jamie Arnold, obviously. Yeah, it's a really good conference, man. Really good conference. So do you think you would start Whitaker in that, if everything goes according to plan, you start Friday night, you start Carson Dorsey in the 1-4 game, and then in the winner's bracket matchup, you would throw Jamie, and that goes according to plan, hopefully. Then you kind of have to start Connor, right? Or, I mean, what else are the other options there? Do you just try to piece it together and then have him get you the last 9, 12 outs?
I don't know, man. It depends on Leiter's availability, and it depends on if they feel like they need to use Whitaker in game 1 or game 2. Like, they might feel like, hey, Carson, try to get us more than 3 outs, but if you get us 15 outs, Carson, Whitaker, Connor, we need you for 9 innings. We need you for 9 outs. We need you for 3 innings. I don't know. It's not ideal, man. I lament that if they had their setup, their weekend rotation, you would really like this team's chances. Like, because right now, you'd have Cam Leiter pitching Friday night against a 4 seed. Right. With that offense behind him. And, if you win that, you have Jamie Arnold, who might be the top pitcher taken next year, pitching your second game. And if you win that, well, Connor Whitaker is about as good as a third starter as you're going to see in one of these regionals. And bullpen help, like guys that can come out of the bullpen and do things. I will say this. I'm not trying to kill the kid. You can't start Andrew Armstrong. I don't know what's going on there and why he keeps getting the ball. And I say this as the dad of a baseball player, so I'm always. By the way, the dad of a baseball player who pitched on Sunday, and it did not go well. That's not his thing, but he was asked to pitch, and the other team got pretty happy about that. But he threw strikes at least, but it didn't go well for him. But so I try to say this with as much caution and parental thought as I can, but Andrew Armstrong, just you can't ask him to get you outs in right now in the moments that matter. I texted you and Ira the stats. His last 13 innings, 13 and a third innings, he's had 41 base runners, man. He's averaging more than 3 base runners an inning for the last month and a half of action. So I hope that's not an option. I don't, they got in a hole on Saturday because of that, and then they came back because their offense is good, and Whitaker and Holtz were pretty good. And Charles too, right? Or Abraham? Somebody pitched well on Saturday.
Abraham did really well.
So that that just I think there's better options down there than that one. I know he's elite. I know he's a veteran. I know he's a lefty, but it's just not. He's not even throwing a lot of strikes, but when he does, they get hit really hard. But man, I think more than anything, the fact that they're hosting a regional, I just want to stress that again, where they were, what this program has been. It's the first time in 6 years, Aslan. That's crazy. It's the first time in 6 years.
It's my first year here, man.
Yeah, that's a 6-year drought of hosting an NCAA regional. That's way too long. So kudos to this team of getting the regional back where it belongs in Dick Hauser Stadium, because they have absolutely earned a top 16 seed. There's no doubt about that, and it's really cool that they got to do it. That they'll get a home crowd for the NCAA tournament again.
Part of me was hoping that Miami was going to beat Duke, and then that's who Florida State was going to play in the championship game, so that you could end their season for good, and not, because that's the only way they can make the tournament. Miami was to actually win the tournament,
right? And
then I wanted Florida to come to Tallahassee as a psychopath.
What's the matter with you? Yeah.
D1 baseball did their projection after the second day of the tournament, and they had South Carolina going to the Clemson regional. So I'm like, well, all right, well, if that's in play, then Florida's probably in play. And I'm not scared of Florida. I wonder, and this is getting way too ahead of ourselves, but, I don't call it a curse at Florida State, but for them to finally get this done, feels like you're going to have to probably do some pretty heroic stuff. Obviously we know what the Red Sox did. They had to fall behind 3-0 to their bitter rival.
That's right. Yep.
I was looking at the Cubs, though. The Cubs kind of had it good. I mean, I think they had the best record in all of baseball that year in 2016, but they had to go to 7 games and beat the Guardians now in the World Series. I just wonder. I thought maybe that would be the path for them. I just wonder what can they do. But I guess it might not be a national headline, but the people that know college baseball and the people that follow this team all year long would know that, man, they were almost bulletproof if they were healthy. To your point about having Cam Leiter and Connor Whitaker available as frontline guys, the roles they had carved out going to the season. So if they can figure this out somehow, it's going to be a Herculean effort. It feels like, because again, just knowing that Carson Dorsey is no longer reliable, but maybe at home he'll be reliable. That was my biggest takeaway from Sunday, because I think everybody else that threw, I think Joe Charles threw, but he threw earlier in the week as well, so I'm not going to get on his case, but I really think it's going to come down to Holtz, Oxford, Joe Charles, and then I guess Whitaker if he's not going to be your starter. That's the handful of guys you're kind of going to battle with, and you're hoping that Jamie Arnold, who has not betrayed you all year long, won't melt in the moment out there, which I don't think he will, but you never know how things happen with baseball. And then Carson Dorsey just got to kind of hunker down and hopefully feel comfortable at home. That's the path, man. That's the path.
But you also got to think, man, whatever.
And Abraham's, I think him and Holtz are also part of the reliable bunch.
Whoever they're playing, and this is just how it works in college baseball, but especially in the first weekend, whoever they're playing has plenty of warts too. You know what I mean? You're a 2 or a 3 seed for a reason. You're a 4 seed for a reason. You don't have the talent that Florida State has. That doesn't mean you can't win. It's the beauty of college baseball. It's the beauty of the sport. Again, Buster Posey's team ended up getting to Omaha. They got shut out by Bucknell. A kid that didn't even play pro ball, shut him out on like 4 hits in the Friday night game, and then they came back and stormed back and won 4 in a row to win the regional.
Should we find that guy and interview him?
I interviewed him when I was still at the Democrat. I found him because I was doing a story at Florida State after that loss to Bucknell. Ended up winning something crazy, like I want to say 18 straight regional games.
Yeah.
Like they won 6 years in a row where they never even lost a game in the regional. It was as crazy a streak almost as 40 straight 40-win seasons. Like it was just nuts to win 18 straight regional games. So after they won one of those years, I'm gonna say 2012. I found the guy. He was working in he's working in New York. I assume as a stockbroker or something. I can't remember.
Good for him.
And we had a good conversation about it. Yeah. And what was funny is he was Canadian, and so in the 5th inning, when the Animals started singing "Oh Canada," he thought they were singing it for them, and he complimented on them after the game in the press conference. He's like, and I really appreciate the Florida State fans singing the Canadian national anthem for me. I didn't even know they knew I was from Canada, and then people explained no. But I mean, imagine that. Like that guy didn't have a future in pro ball.
Yeah.
He pitched against the best offense in Florida State history, probably. Certainly one of the top 2 players or 5 players in college baseball history, a Hall of Famer. And then shut him out 5-0. And then for the next 2 weeks, all Florida State did was score like 12 runs a game. But that one kid in that one moment shut him out. It was crazy. But, yeah, so anything can happen. But you're a 4 seed for a reason. If you're a 2 or a 3 seed, you snuck in. You were not a guaranteed spot. Maybe you didn't sneak in, but you did not have the kind of season you were hoping for. You were clearly bubble-ish. So you probably don't have a great 3rd starter either. And I can promise you whoever's coming to Tallahassee does not have an offense like what Florida State has, especially when my man Faroe is going to start hitting like that again. That was that was a big development. Great stuff. Elite of the elite. When the whole lineup is hitting like they hit for most of the week, that's just they hit some bad luck on Sunday, I thought, but I mean, what do they have to score 17 to win? So the offense wasn't the issue. But yeah, man, I think that when you look at it, when we break it down the next time we do a show and look at the 3 other teams, you're like, yeah, they're good teams. Certainly, if you play well, if you don't play well, you can lose. Florida State lost to Stetson. They lost to Pittsburgh twice. Like they can lose to whoever they're going to face, but by and large, and that's the tragedy of the college baseball is that you can have a great season and just hit a bunch of atom balls or have a bad 36 hours and your season's over. But Florida State, by and large, those teams coming in to face Florida State, they have a much bigger obstacle. Like, I got to pitch. If I get this Max Williams kid out who hits every ball 105 miles an hour, then waiting after him is 2 first-round picks. And then after them is Marco Dingus and Ferrer.
Yeah.
And I got through them. I got Cantu, Lodis, and Faroe, who would all be batting 3rd in my lineup. Yeah. Now I've got to. So it's just it's a tough draw for whoever comes to Florida State as well. I guess is the point I'm trying to make.
Corey Clark's made a living doing great work on Warchant.com, previous stops, but also his greatest work is molding Brady Clark, soft toss, busting out the fungo bat, knocking up some cans of corn. Could Corey Clark take Cal Fisher under his wing and in the next, 4 or 5 days make him a functioning Division I catcher?
Probably not. Our Marco would be probably yes, no. I don't think in 4 or 5 days. I think Cal Fisher could be a catcher because he's a middle infielder. So I think he would. He's probably got the skill set to do it. I don't know if he's ever done it, but yeah, I think the point Aslan's making is that the catching position at Florida State has been a weakness here lately.
Give me something, man. Like either just be like, Benjamin Molina back there and block everything, or be Piazza and like get the barrel on the bat. They don't do anything good, And I don't want to beat up on Jackson West and McGuire Holbrook because this team is great and you can't have 11. Like we say about football, you can't have All-Americans at every single position. But man, they're not getting anything from that position right now, and it hurts.
Well, what could be an interesting development is that
Jackson West did all right on Sunday, I guess.
He had 2 hits on Sunday, and he also had a big bunt base hit on Saturday when he came in pinch hit. Yeah. He had a big bunt base hit there, And, so he's 3 for his last 5. And whatever it takes to get you going, man, because if you can get the 9 hole to just start doing something again. Because before his bunt hit, Jackson West was 6 for his last 50. And McGuire Holbrook is 4 for his last 36.
And he ground into a double play when they were about to have a really big inning. And,
yep. So 10 for 86 from your catching tandem the last, month of the season. The last 20 games, you've had 10 hits from those guys. That's not been great. But, with what the Thunder you have at the top, that's why it's so valuable if you can get 8 and 9 on base. Jackson West, again, neither one of them are buster behind the plate either. They try their best. They're not exceptional defensively. But Jackson West, both of them have had some moments offensively. Jackson West could be a valuable guy if he can start, having at bats like he did earlier in the year. And if he can do that and become a viable offensive weapon, man, that just opens everything up. It just makes it, again, you 1 through 9 now, where you can't breathe. They're all good hitters. And I do think Jackson West is a good hitter. I just think he was in an awful slump. But maybe he busted out of it, and that's going to get him going.
Let us hope. Noon, ESPN2. They're going to announce the entire field. So they've announced the 16 regional hosts by the time you're listening to this. Florida State.
Only college baseball does dumb stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
What's the point? Why not just do the whole thing on Sunday night?
I don't know. Or I do everything on Monday. Like, I don't know. Right. To me, the stupid thing is doing something on Sunday night. It's like, just make it Selection Monday. Like,
what would even be the point of it, Aslan? So for those that don't know, on Sunday night they announced the top 16 teams. Not even the top 16, like the rankings. Just, hey, everyone, here are the 16 sites for the regional games on Friday. But if you want to know if you made the tournament, or if you want to know if you're a top 8 seed, or where you're going, or who you're playing, we'll tell you again in about 18 hours. Like, what sense does that make? Why get out ahead of it on Sunday night with the announcement of the sites, Aslan? For ticket sales? So all those Duke fans can jump on the tickets? You know what I mean? Like, what is it? They're going to fly off the shelves? Is it Taylor Swift? Why announce it on Sunday night, Aslan? Why announce anything?
Maybe try to get some of the juice flowing already, but I don't.
It's dumb.
I don't buy it. What I do buy, though, is VitaminEnergy.com. Makes me feel good. Probably going to have to take some this morning before I get on this jet airplane, so I'm ready to go and ask some decent questions at Media Day at the On3 Elite event. Maybe I should hand out some Vitamin Energy to these kids. Maybe get an NIL deal cooked up for some of them. VitaminEnergy.com. Promo code is Warchant BOGO. That's Warchant BOGO. Buy one, get one free. Awesome how that works. Florida State alums behind this operation hooking you folks up because they're Noles and they want to help Noles. And they do that by giving it to you for free. So go to VitaminEnergy.com. Check out all the different options they have. Immune Plus, Focus Plus, Workout Plus, Mood Plus, Hydration Plus, which I still need to try after maybe having a few too many adult beverages one night. Help replenish my electrolytes and get the energy boost so I can, just get rocking and rolling. But I'm going to be teetotaling all week up there in Nashville, man. I'm on the clock. Got to put a good face for the corporate company, so we'll do that. But go to VitaminEnergy.com. Don't forget, world's first clinically proven energy shot to enhance your mood, enhance your focus, and boost your immune system due to the vitamins and nutrients in every single shot. 260 milligrams, all natural caffeine, no sugar, none, zero. Go to VitaminEnergy.com. Promo code Corey.
Warchant BOGO.
It's been too long. VitaminEnergy.com. Shake it and take it. Elsewhere on the diamond, Corey Clark. Softball, great run by that senior class. Fall to Oklahoma, the 3-time reigning champions. Yep. In Norman. Put up a hell of a fight. I'll be honest, I thought they were going to kind of probably get run ruled in both games, and they came out Saturday and really gave Oklahoma a little bit of a scare early on. And unfortunately, just some things that are uncharacteristic of them this entire run they've had with the senior class, of just maybe some bad base running and the offense kind of failing to travel with them cost them. But, man, we found out, obviously, the McKenna Reed saga, which, we for so long kind of had her tabbed as being the heir apparent to Kat Sandercock and wondering, like, when is this going to kind of turn on for her and the switch would get flipped. And I think Lonnie said after the game on Saturday that she actually has stress fractures, plural, in her back that she's been dealing with. So McKenna Reed, an absolute warrior. hell of a foundation to continue to build on, even though they're going to lose a great deal of talent. And Lonnie's still Lonnie, so feel pretty good about them. And that's a really tough out, huh?
Man, it's just, it was bad. It was bad luck. I don't. They were up against it anyway, no matter who they would have played in a super regional with the pitching woes they had. But that is not a team you need to face with your third and fourth and fifth pitchers. They just pummel those types of arms. So they went as far as they could go, and I think when you do that, yeah, you could be disappointed, but you could also be proud. Like I think that team about reached their potential. With McKenna Reed not really being available, and then Allison Royalty going down, you're not beating Oklahoma in Oklahoma, but it's cool that you got there, and it's also cool that you showed some fight, because they didn't show a lot of fight, and not through any fault of their own for the position players. They just couldn't get it out. They couldn't get outs. They were overwhelmed. The pitching was overwhelmed in that first game. They did get run ruled when she walked in the final run.
That's right.
But the second one was a real game. You put real game pressure on them, and who knows if it changes if the girl doesn't go and make a stinking home run robbing catch for the second year in a row. That's center fielder for Oklahoma. She just needs to cut it out. She needs to go join the Savannah Bananas or something, and let's enjoy softball again. But also maybe next year NCAA, don't match Florida State up with Oklahoma. Do we have? Is this just something we have to deal with? But yeah, I think that overall the softball team, the softball program is in really good shape. They can go find a pitcher in the portal. They're going to need to, but I think next year that offense will be elite again. I think with Beecham, who got a home run and they got robbed of another one. That was cool that on that stage she hit the ball hard a few times, and everybody got to see what we've seen all year. They lose Harding, all-time great. Flaherty, one of the undersung heroes of the last 3 or 4 years, an all-time great Seminole, played a ton of games, played a ton of big games, and made a ton of big plays. And then Kaylee Mudge. Those three, kind of the heartbeat of the last 2 or 3 years, and you got to replace them. But it's Florida State, man. They will. I think with Edenfield and then Beecham and Torres, Kennedy Harp, Waycaser's coming. I mean, and also I didn't know this, Aslan. I was looking up. I was doing a little softball recon, thinking what's their signing class look like, and I couldn't find it because you have to pay to find. If I really wanted to know and do a deep dive, I'd have to pay $10 a month on some site to look at the recruiting rankings for USA softball, and I was yeah, I'm not doing that. But I did find that Florida State got a commitment from the number one player in the country for the class of 2025, and she's a catcher.
Okay. They also have a commitment.
Pitcher.
They also have a commitment from Jazzy Francic from Melbourne.
Okay.
Who has over 1,200 strikeouts in 4 years.
That sounds good.
Yeah, that'll hunt.
I don't know what kind of competition she's going against down there, but that's good. And look, I gave Danley some grief earlier in the year, but she really came on and had a nice. She's going to be a good one. She had to take a brunt. They weren't planning on her to pitch as much as she did. McKenna Reed was supposed to be the ace, but she couldn't, and Royalty then got hurt at the end. Danley, being a true freshman, she wasn't dominant, she wasn't overpowering, but she certainly set a nice baseline of what she can be, and you assume she keeps improving. And she also hits. She didn't get too much this year, but I think next year they're going to let her hit some too. And they're going to be good again. It'll be interesting what they get in the portal, because I feel like I just don't know how you watch Florida State play softball if you're a player in this great country of ours and not say that looks like fun. I want to go play for them. So I feel like they can go fill a few holes with some portal players and be right back in Oklahoma City next year.
Melbourne, the team, Jasmine. We'll go through.
We'll call her Jazzy.
I think that's what the first story I saw. They lost to a team from, I think, Polk County. Went to 8 innings, though.
Okay.
So they lost 1-0. Give her some help. She'll get help at Florida
Please, give Jazzy. Yeah, exactly right. She didn't have Beecham and Torres on her team down there.
Yeah, so I feel good about that. And basketball, they got a signee. Some young man, Boston.
Yep. Don't know anything about him. Sorry, everyone.
We're back.
Sorry, everyone. I don't know a single thing about him. I don't know if he's a high school kid or a transfer. I should. This is a show that's supposed to be full of information. I'm just very dejected with what's going on there. I know it's not Cooper Flagg. I know it's not the number one player in the country, And I know it's not the kid from North Florida that averaged 20 points a game that's committed to somewhere else over the weekend, but not Florida State.
Boston Holt's coming to us via South Dakota, University of South Dakota.
Oh.
Started all 32 games, played over 31 minutes, scored over 12 points per game, 4.5 boards, 3 assists,
Man,
45% from the field, 39% from 3.
So is that the kid they committed a while ago and he just signed?
I
or
think
do they
so,
have another
yeah.
kid from
no,
the
it's the same. I
Dakotas?
think it's the same one. I think it's officially.
Okay, all right. I was like, come
Hey,
on,
if
man,
you
they're
were,
not.
some people were worried, Corey. Like, is he really going to come? Is he really coming?
Well, that's true. Yeah, hey, worries are over. Everyone, they've been quashed. Fret no more. What's his name?
Boston Holt. Boston with a Y.
Holt is coming to Tallahassee. Everyone.
Yeah. Boston with a
now,
Y. That's strong.
People are going to play this clip back next year when he averages 18 and 8. And is the ACC first? He's on the ACC first team, and I'm dismissing him.
Hey, I think I was probably equally as sarcastic when you and I were trying to tell me, like, Jameer Watkins might be something. And I'm like, yeah, sure. And look at him. Well,
yeah, that's true. He was good. He was good. What did it end up mattering, though?
How you guys doing with Ronald Acuna, man? Everything all right?
We don't think he blew out his knee, but it didn't look good. He's been so bad this year; it's been bizarre anyway. But yeah, he just seemed like maybe he was starting to get going finally, and then he crumples into a heap and has to be helped off the field with another knee injury. He didn't hear a pop though, and he's heard one of those before, so he didn't think it was season ending. But he immediately said to the reporters, "Yeah, I'm going on the IL." Before even the manager had said it, I'm definitely going on the injured list. So. Who knows, man? Who knows? The Phillies are going to win the division anyway. Just going to try to get the wild card spot.
Also, congrats to Joseph Newgarden celebrating his second straight Indy 500 win. There we go, everybody. Indy 500.
Okay, man, we covered it all. Congrats to Luka. I still think I think the jury's still out on if the Hawks should have kept him or traded him for Trae Young.
Yeah.
I don't know if that probably won't be decided for a decade from now. But right now, it looks like the Mavericks made the smarter decision in getting Luka, and the Hawks got a 5'11" guy that nobody likes to play with and doesn't play defense.
Can you
He's
put yourself
very, very good offensively, but doesn't win a lot of games.
Can you put yourself back in that moment? Because I'll admit, as a Lakers fan, like, I wanted them to take Lonzo Ball. Like, I did not want them to take Jason Tatum. I don't think Jason Tatum was even thought about as like being a top 3 pick. And I'm like, I want Lonzo Ball. His handles, the way his funky shot, he's got an ultimate green line. I'm like, I want Lonzo Ball. And that was obviously a horrendous pick. And if they had Jason Tatum, who knows where the Lakers would be right now. But, like, did you feel like, man, this Trae Young guy's fun and all, but I don't know, this Luka guy seems to have, everybody's saying that he's been playing against grown men ever since he was 16 over there in Europe. He's probably going to be pretty good.
Didn't he win the MVP of that league? And that's like at 18, and that's like a real league. That is like a grown man league. And what's funny about that, I will never forget this. Brady was playing in an All-Star game the night of the draft. And this was like a year and a half, probably a year into Brady being a sports nut. He had finally got really interested in sports and had become a sports nut. And I'm like, so there's the night of the draft, and in the middle of a game, he's in the dugout while they're hitting, goes, "Hey, who did the Hawks draft?" And I go, well, they drafted Luka. And he goes, yes. And I go, well, but they traded him immediately for Trae Young. And he goes, what? He yelled it really loudly where, like, the umpire turned around. He's like, what? Why would they have done that? And every time Luka hits another game winner in the postseason, while Trae's working out with his trainer in some gym in Oklahoma, looking to cross over just stick figures, I always go back to that moment where Brady, my 9-year-old, was like, wait, what? And, I agree, Brady. Why? What? What indeed?
That's the origin story of future Florida State general manager Brady Clark, rather. So, like, he'll...
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's
when
right.
Derek Ray moves on, he'll fill it in. He'll just start getting all the top...
He'll do it for every sport. But trust me, he's got enough opinions. He could be a general manager for every sport.
And yeah, Doncic was the ACB most valuable player when he was playing with Real Madrid out there in the EuroLeague. So,
well, but Trae did average 27 in the Big 12, shooting 30 times a game, and they got bounced in the first round of the NCAA tournament by Rhode Island. Rhode Island, who I think was coached by Danny Hurley, who is now the 2-time national champ. It's all coming together. So no Noles did anything interesting in the last few days, like professional-wise, right?
I saw the Cleveland Browns tweeted out a photo of Jameis, or maybe Jameis tweeted out a photo of himself.
Oh, he was at
practice,
doing what at the
OTAs or whatever. So He's still looking strong. But then I saw the Browns of their schedule release video, which I didn't think was that funny. So all these NFL teams are now trying to do like what college teams are doing with their schedule reveals, and they're not funny at all. And the Browns did one where they're all bowling, and like Deshaun Watson's like the star of it. So they still seem to be firmly behind him, despite the fact that he's like one of the worst free agent signings in NFL history.
Yeah, well, I don't even think he was a free agent signing. I think they traded for him
yeah.
and then gave him that huge contract. Yeah, man, it's not. But hey, he might put it all together. That's what I'm hoping for. Stephanie's a Cleveland fan through and through, and I hope she's happy next fall.
If the Browns played the Falcons in the Super Bowl, would you just defer and concede and just like root for her happiness and want the Browns to win?
No. What? No, of course not. It's not like I'm a Patriots fan. We're like, I got my 6, you can have one. Like I've never won a Super Bowl either. In fact, I've suffered the worst Super Bowl loss that could ever be suffered. So no, I don't want to hear about how bad Browns fans have it. They can't have it worse than I did that night. No way. No chance.
All right,
Plus,
well,
her dad's dead.
Oh.
Her dad's dead, and
so
he
yours.
was the. I know. No, I wasn't like taking a shot at her. I was saying he was the Browns. He was the big Browns fan. If he was still alive and I'd ever met him, I would maybe want him. You know, he lived his whole life as a tortured Browns fan. I would want it for him, but he's gone, so I'd rather win it for me.
Would you move like heaven and earth to go to the Super Bowl? Like get you both tickets?
No.
Yeah.
No. No. Are you kidding? No chance. The Super Bowl seems like the worst major event to go to.
I think it's kind of overrated. I went to one, but not as a fan.
Chance.
But I think it's a little bit overrated.
Probably. I think it's a lot of corporate people.
Yeah.
The tickets are $6,000. No way I would do that. I'd rather be at a sports bar.
And you know what they fed us in the media? So I was there in New Orleans when the lights went out between the Niners and the Ravens. Beyonce was a halftime, and then I think Jacoby Jones returned the second half kickoff back for a touchdown for the Ravens. They sat us like in the 300 section, the auxiliary media, which you'd think was just like scrubs like me that worked at local TV, but they also, like Ron Jaworski was near me, Sal Palantonio was near me. It was pretty, like they put a lot of national people in the 300 section with the rest of us auxiliary media.
Okay, all right.
Box lunch. I was like, they're going to have prime rib. Probably this is going to be the best media spread ever. Box lunch under our seats. Like just like a terrible sandwich.
You're at the Super Bowl. You can't complain.
Well, I'm Aslan. I can complain about anything.
Well, that's a good point. Very fair.
So.
Very fair.
All right, we'll see about a show maybe tomorrow. Maybe we'll react to Florida State's actual regional opponents and their path, perhaps. Probably won't have a show for you on Wednesday. I'll be doing nothing but recruiting stuff on Tuesday. But check out warchant.com if you really like recruiting because...
Also, if there are any tax attorneys out there or accountants, go ahead and slide into my DMs or send me an email at Corey@warchant.com. I gotta. It just never stops, Aslan. the hits just keep on coming. But somehow I owe from 2019 a lot of money that I didn't know I owed. So that's out there now. So tax attorneys, if you think you could help me. Accountants, if you could help me a little bit, that would be gladly it'd be very appreciated.
So where's the statute of limitations on this stuff?
That's what I'm arguing. Uncle Sam. I don't understand it. I also think I paid it. So whatever. I don't know though. We'll see. It was COVID. I was in a fog. So who knows? Who knows what really happened?
All right, let's get out of the month of May, big dog, huh? May's been a little bit of a weird one for you.
June's going to be awesome, though, when we're in Omaha celebrating that national championship.
That's right. That is right. Jeff Cameron Show, 1 to 3 o'clock. Everything you need, Florida State-related, rather, is at warchant.com. Go check it out. He's Corey. I'm Aslan. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.